Young folks, old folks, everybody come to Kids Club and have a lot of fun. Please check your chewing gum and raisins at the door, and we'll tell you Bible stories that you never heard before. Hello, children. I'm Pastor Ted. Get ready. I'm going to read the Bible. You're going to hear a story. This story is about Jacob and Esau, two brothers. Remember how God promised to Abraham and Sarah that they would have so many descendants, like the stars in the sky, they would be uncountable. Well, Abraham and Sarah gave birth to a son, remember? His name was Isaac. And when Isaac grew up and became 40, he fell in love with Rebekah, and they got married. Rebekah then became a mommy, and she gave birth to two little boys, fraternal twins, not identical, and Esau was born first. His head came out, and he was followed immediately by Jacob. And funny thing happened. Jacob's hand was wrapped around the heel of his brother Esau. So they were born at the same time, but technically Esau was called the firstborn. And this is important in ancient Hebrew family life because the firstborn inherits the property and becomes ruler over the family. Well, the two boys grew up together and they were good brothers. They were different, though. Esau was big and hairy and redheaded, and he loved adventure, and he went out into the wilderness and became a very skilled hunter. And in those days, hunters hunted with bows and arrows. They didn't have rifles or guns. Jacob was nerdy. He was kind of slender and smooth skin and not so strong, and so he took care of the sheep and grew the flowers and grew the vegetables. But the two brothers got along very well. One day, Jacob was brewing some lentil soup. Oh, it smelled so good. Esau had been out hunting. He'd been hunting for days, and he couldn't find any deer or bear or muskrat or anything to kill, and he was famished. And he came stumbling back, and he says, Jacob, I am so hungry. I'm so hungry. I'm going to die if I don't get something to eat. And Jacob says, well, I've got a nice pot of lentil soup here. You know what? I would share it with you, but first, give me your birthright. Declare that I am the firstborn and that I will inherit the property. Oh my gosh! So Esau says, but you know, if I don't eat your lentil soup, I'm going to die. I think you've got me over the barrel here. Okay, you can have my birthright. Just give me some soup. So Esau ate the soup, and he felt a whole lot better. And then Jacob and Esau kind of forgot about this for a while. Later on, as Isaac was growing old, his eyes were growing dim, he was losing his sight, and Isaac feared that he would die soon, and they didn't have attorneys to file a last will and testament, so Isaac said, would you please send for Esau? And Rebekah sent for Esau. Esau came in, and Isaac said, I think it's time for me to die, but before I do, I want a last supper. Would you please go out and hunt some deer and kill a deer and prepare a venison dinner for me? And while we're having that dinner, then I will give you the inheritance I will bless you with everything that I have. So Esau went out into the wilderness to do the hunting, and Rebekah, she went and whispered in Joseph's ear, "Look, your blind father is going to die, and he wants to give the blessing. Why don't we fool him into thinking that you are Esau, and then you will get blessed and you will get the inheritance?" Oh, Jacob says that won't work, because if he touches me, he'll know that I'm not my brother, because Esau is a hairy man and I am a smooth. "I'll fix that," said Rebekah. So they prepared lamb stew, and Rebekah took the fur off a lamb, actually a kid, I think, a goat, and put it on the forearms of Jacob. And then they went in and they fed Isaac this lovely meal. And Isaac says, "Well, who are you?" And Jacob answers, "I'm Esau, your oldest son, your firstborn." "But your voice sounds like Jacob." He says, "Oh no, I'm Esau. Here, feel my arm." So Isaac feels the fur on the arm, and he thinks that Jacob is Esau. And so Jacob declares that Esau, actually Jacob, is going to inherit the farm and the land and all the animals and all the authority. Well, then Rebekah and Jacob leave, and a little while later, Esau comes in and says, "Dad, I've got the venison dinner all ready for you." "What? What?" says Isaac. "What do you mean? I thought I just gave you a blessing." No, that must have been Jacob. Oh, the father got so mad. And Esau says, "Well, can't you just give me a blessing too?" And Isaac says, "No, I've already given it to your brother." Oh my goodness, did Esau get angry? And he was so angry he was going to kill his brother. And so Rebekah, the mommy, says, "Jacob, you got to get out of town. Your brother is really too angry. I want you to go back to Haran. I want you to go back to Mesopotamia and just stay there until your angry brother cools down." And so he did. And eventually, when Jacob came back, his brother had cooled down. They met each other. They kissed each other, and they became happy brothers living together, even though it was Jacob and not Esau who would carry on the promise that God had given to Abraham and to Sarah. That's the story of Jacob and Esau.
Esau was a hairy man, Jacob he was smooth, smooth in action, smooth in speech, and oh so sly, from babyhood. Esau was a hunting man, Jacob chopped up wood, built a fire and made some stew, and Esau was good. Esau was a hungry man, so from where he stood, he gave up his birthright, gave it up for Jacob's food. Esau he was gullible, Jacob he was cool, stole his brother's blessing, go read it in God's holy book. Esau was an angry man, that's when Jacob flew. Ran away from Esau's wrath, what else was there? For him to do?
Young folks, old folks, everybody come to Kids Club and have a lot of fun. Please check your chewing gum and raisins at the door, and we'll tell you Bible stories that you never heard before. Goodbye, kids.